All right, guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the second part of this project that I've been working on. Yesterday, I made part one, and I showed y'all basically what the project that we're working on is. It being that the UFO data set and creating a Quarto report to provide insights on where UFOs are seen, when they're happening, time of day. And yeah, so the first part of the series, we used our script here to find some insights. And so what I'm going to be doing this video, hopefully it's a lot shorter just because we already have our findings. Now we're just finding a way to present it and make it look nice. So I already have made a QMD file here. This is just the outline. If you don't know how to make a QMD file, if you're in Positron, you'll go to New File here at the top left, and then you'll press Quarto Document right here. And then you'll have this page, but I already have mine made, so I'm going to go back to this one. So I'm just going to walk through what you see at the top here. Now, how should I say this? What this is this is where you'll style and format what you want your document to look like. Okay, so, and I'm going to be honest with you, this is something that you can use AI to help you design. Just because as a data analyst, data scientist, more likely than not, you're not going to have any experience with writing style sheets. And that's kind of the main way that I make my reports look very nice. So I'm just gonna walk through everything. So you have your title right here, and this title you'll change it to whatever you're wanting to uh, title your report, and then even a little subtitle right here. So I did UFO sightings, a visual analysis, and the subtitle exploring patterns of reported sightings across the United States. Author being me, and then the date today, and I format the date, and then the format. So HTML. Whenever you're doing Quarto documents, I highly recommend it being HTML, just because it makes it a lot more interactive. There's a table of contents filter that you can add via HTML that allows the user to click through the file, and it makes it a lot more interactive and clean. And then so also adding on to that, there are also other features like pivot tables. That's something that I'll do in another video. I'll go over the R pivot table. And if you put that into a Quarto document, you're able to have the user that you're sending it to play around with the pivot table and look at it themselves. So that's another really strong component of Quarto documents. So theme, there's no theme because we're using a style sheet. So this is what I had AI write me. So this is what I just put into Claude. I gave it a kind of like what a style that I'm wanting to go for. And as you can see, it kind of gave the root colors here. It's going to have blacks, purple, blue, white, and gray. It has a style for the body, header, subtitle, author. It wrote me a full-on style sheet. So if you're ever wanting to make it look nice, this is a great way to do it. And it also just saves you a lot of time just because you're wanting to spend most of your time doing your analysis. You don't want to spend a lot of your time writing a style sheet as a data analyst. It's not a good allocation of your time. So TOC meaning table of contents, we want table of contents depth being 3. So we want, if we have to split up into smaller sections within a tab, we can do that to a max of 3. Just smooth scroll. Table of contents location, we want it to the left. What else we have? Code fold true. Code tools true. Figure line center. And then just layout, highlight style, GitHub, and then execution, echo. If you're familiar with like R markdown files, you'll know that we probably actually don't want echo on. So I'll probably turn that to false after I'm done with this. Warning false, message false. So let me go ahead and change that to false. You don't want any echo. Okay. And so what we're going to do, if you're familiar with markdown file like formats, a hashtag means a header, so header 1, header 2, and so on. And the more hashtags you add, the smaller your heading gets. So I'm going to do 2 per header because I think that's usually a good size. You don't want it too big. So I'm just going to write a sample. So I'm going to say introduction. And then now I'm going to preview it. So this is the same thing as rendering it. So if I press preview, it's going to create the document. And as you can see, that this is it will show you what the report is going to look like. So I'm just going to open it up into on an actual tab here. So as you can see, we have our UFO sightings of visual analysis exploring patterns in reported sightings across the United States by myself. And then as I add more headers, it has a table of contents that you can click on each tab and it'll take you directly to that section so you're not having to scroll. And then our introduction. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and go back to Positron. Okay. So I guess I'll leave this as introduction. So I'm going to start off by writing like, in this report, we will be examining UFO sightings over time across the United States. That's what our data set was. The objective of our analysis is to see where the sightings are occurring the most frequently. Where they're occurring the most frequently, what day of the week and time of day, and then and if there is any correlation with time of day and day of week. Oh no, correlation with city. What am I saying? With city population and the number of sightings in that city. Cool. So we got our introduction. And now we are going to add another section that we're going to be going, we'll call this, we're going to say, where in the US are we seeing the most sightings? Okay. So now we are going to include our first R script. So I'm going to go back to the file here. We're going to get our first plot. Well, first, okay. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get all of our libraries that we need. And we're going to just put that in an R script at the top here. To add a R chunk, you have to press this little button right here. And it'll give you an R chunk. Let me get this out the code. This will be our libraries. I'm just going to throw all of them that I used in here. I know I think I added one more. I'll get it in a little bit. 4 cats. I think that's it. Yep, that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and run that cell. Let me make sure that, okay, it looks like that all worked. And then I'm gonna add another cell where I load my data into it. Okay. And just to make sure there's any weird messages, I'm gonna add include equal to false, and both of these. Okay. All right. Did I run that? Yeah, I did. Okay. So we got our data, and now we are going to include our first set of code. So we're going to use this one, and as I'm adding my plots and my analysis into each little section, I'm going to tweak the colors of all my plots, and I'm going to kind of just pull some of the colors that some of these hex codes right here, and kind of steal some of these colors so it all looks nice and it's all matching. You know, got to make it look nice to who we're presenting the data to. So we're gonna insert a code cell. I forgot to add this one. There we go. And then we're gonna change the color. I'm really liking this purple one. I feel like it'll look nice. So let's do this. We're gonna change this color here to that. What did I highlight? Okay. There we go. So let's run this. And that looks great. So let's go ahead and preview it and let's see how it's looking in the file. So if I go back here, and is it gonna load here? No. Cool. I have to do this every time, which that's kind of annoying, but it's okay. So we got a map here that is showing, that is our little map that we made of what we see. So we'll say, like, based on the plot, we see that there is a big concentration of sightings. You know, and to make it look nice, I might filter it. What is the abbreviation for? Because I don't really care about Hawaii and Alaska. They don't have a lot of, um, you know. All right, y'all. Let's see if I remember how to open up the. Is it that? No. How did I do it last? Oh, is this? Okay. I'm just looking here, y'all. 1 second. Where's the state? State. There we go. Can I still sort this? Bro, what? Okay, there we go. Wait, Alaska. Alaska's AL. Okay. No, it's AK. What am I saying? I guess there's a good amount. I'm still gonna get rid of it. I don't really care. And then Hawaii's HI, right? Yes, okay. So what I'm going to do is, how am I gonna filter this? Okay, I know what to do. I'm just gonna do it here in the QMD file. So filter to where state is not equal AK, and then where's that ampersand? State not equal to Hawaii. Okay. Let's run that. And hopefully this makes it look nice. Let's really run that. Now let's do our plot. That looks a lot better. So if I preview that, it's not like offering a weird layout. That looks amazing. Okay. If I open it up here, there we go. We get a map of the UFO sightings, and we're able to see there was a lot of sightings in the East Coast, and then good amount in Florida and in California. So let's add our analysis right here. We're going to say looking at the map, we can see that there are a heavy amount of sightings in what appears to be the northeast coast California and in Florida. And then we're going to include a table. I'm going to say here is a breakdown of the states with the most sightings. And then we are going to include did I not? State table. Here we go. I'm worried this is gonna look bad. Is there a purple? I don't think there is. There's cyan, pink. Let's try cyan. I don't know what cyan is, but we're gonna see what that looks like. Yeah, that doesn't look good. Maybe just gray, I guess. Or hmm. I'll play around with the blue. I'll just change the style. Try style, first style. I don't think that would look terrible. There's 6 styles, so let's just... Okay, I think that's the safest bet. We'll do that. So we'll then say, as we can see, the top 3 states are Florida, California. I'll fully spell them out. Florida, California, and Texas. These states have a heavy population, so we can infer that sightings can potentially, because we don't fully know, could potentially be associated with denser populations. Okay. I think that's good. What did I title this? We're in the U.S. I'm gonna say I'm gonna add little subsections here. Map of the U.S. I'm gonna call this top 5 UFO states in UFO sightings. Okay, let's go ahead and preview it and see how it's looking so far. I hate that I'm having to do this every time. You don't have to do this in our studio. So where in the US are we seeing the most sightings? It takes us there. Map of the US, it takes us there. And then we have our little table here that is showing us the most sightings by state. So yeah, it's looking really good so far. And then now what we're going to include next is the city table, I guess. So let's go here. And then what style did I use? Style 2. There we go. And then top 5. And then we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do by city. Top 5 cities in UFO sightings. Okay. Okay, that looks good. Let's go ahead and add our analysis. Let's run this cell here. Was Arizona in the top 5? Yes. Okay. So, we can see that, let me run this cell again. We can see that a lot of the cities that are in the top 5 are located in the, in one of the states that are in the top 5. So we can see that we can see that some of the cities here are located in one of the top 5 states. So yeah, as we can see that some of the cities here are located in one of the top 5 states. However, none of these cities are located in Florida or California. This could be because of how many square miles these 2 states have. Okay. And then so now I'm gonna move into the next section. This one's gonna be a little smaller section. We're gonna say, is there a relationship between city population and the number of sightings in that city? right? Okay, so in our data set, we are given the city population that corresponds to the city that the location of, that the sighting of the UFO was in. Let's see if there is any correlation with the two variables, city population and number of city sightings. Okay. We got our city scatter. I'm gonna change the color of the, we're gonna get this color again. All right, let's see how that looks. Oh, I gotta include everything else, my bad. Okay, I think that's all I need. City correlation not found. Do I need to run the entire thing? Here we go. Let's make the reg line also that same color. What is it? 7C6 AF7. There we go. We can see that there is a steady positive relationship between the number of city residents and number of UFO sightings. The correlation coefficient was, what was it? I think this is it. Was about 0.53. How do I, is that how you bold? Yes, I'm so smart. Okay, we bolded it. The correlation was with the correlation coefficient was about 0.53. Okay. I'm gonna add a little call out just for fun. If you want to do a fun little call out being like a little fancy note. Wait, I gotta put it in. This does not mean that city population causes there to be a high amount of sightings. There is just a positive trend between the two variables. Just in case they mix up correlation and causation. There is just a positive trend between the two variables. Okay. Let's render, let's preview and see how it's looking so far. Did I? Wait, what? Oh, I don't need that. Let's remove that. Oh, it doesn't work. No. It's because of the style sheet. I'll do that in another video. Another video, I won't include a style sheet. So I'm just gonna do is I'm just gonna bold this. What does that look like? I'm curious. Okay, so that okay, that makes sense. It italicizes it. And this bolds it. Now I know. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. Had to take care of something really quick. So we just got done with bolding this, saying that there's not any, or there is a strong positive relationship between city population and number of sightings in that city. So let's look and see what tape visuals we have left. We need, so this is our day of the week plot. So we're gonna go ahead and copy this over. I guess we'll call this new section like what time of day and day of week are we seeing the most sightings? Alright, so we got that. Let's go ahead and make another R chunk, paste that in. Wait, I forgot to include the other stuff. Wait, no, that's right. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. We're gonna snag that puppy, copy that. Um, um, did it work? I don't know what even that means. I'm just gonna try previewing it. I think it could be because my computer shut off. Nope, I'm getting issues. What's it saying? Error. Okay, what's the error I'm getting? You weren't giving me an error. Character string is not in a standard unambiguous format. What does that even freaking mean? Bro, what? Um, I don't know what's going on, guys. Okay, I'm just gonna. I'm guessing it's with this. Why is that not working? And time of day equals hour of time. Does the data frame not have a time variable? Why is that? Do I have to do? Oh, I know what it. I forgot to include something. Um, there it is. I'm so silly. That was the issue. It's because I didn't include the code that converted it to a time variable. It's just a string right now. Now that should work. There we go. Okay. Um, so we can say that we Saturday and Friday are the top 2 days for UFO sightings. This could be because these 2 days, especially during the evening and night, have a high amount of individuals that are not working. Let's now look and see what time of day these UFO sightings are occurring. Okay. So I'm gonna call this UFO sightings by UFO sightings by day of week. And then we're gonna call this next one UFO sightings by time of day. I forgot to capitalize everything. Okay. So I'm gonna take all this and then I thought I pasted. Okay. I'm going to use these colors. Sorry. I mean, we can just preview this and see how it's looking. Um, yeah, I don't like how it's clashing, so I'm gonna change the colors. It's gonna be a pain, but let's go ahead and do that. So we're gonna take the most common one, and manual um, values equal to, and then you have to do a vector. Let's take this color. Oh my goodness, just copy the color. Thank you. Okay, take the next one. We'll make that one. Oh my goodness. The blue color. And then let's look at some hex codes, hex color codes. Hex code for, let's do a navy blue and light purple. Okay, got that one. So what else? What other? 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. Okay, one more. So I got, what other ones do I need? 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. No. 1 to 6, that's the one I need. All right, so we're going to take this other one, this last one. We're going to say it's equal to, my bad, Rocky, come on up. Come on up, Rocky. Copy that one. Okay, that is not, yeah, maybe that'll look good. Let's see. Preview. Let's see how she's looking, guys. Let's see. It's taking a little while to load this now. All right, let's just do that. All right, I don't think that's bad. I think it looks pretty good, if I do say so myself. So we can say, as we can see, the common majority of the sightings are within 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. So we can say that we're making an assumption that it could be associated with maybe higher alcohol consumption. And then we can also include in this that, however, this will require more research. So yeah, we're gonna do that here. So we're gonna say, as we can see, I keep starting with as we can see, so I should stop doing that. There are a heavy amount of sightings Friday and Saturday. You capitalize Friday and Saturday. From 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Because of this result, so you say it would make interesting research seeing if alcohol consumption slash being under the influence correlates to UFO sightings. All right, let's see what other visuals we have. We have our yearly trend of UFO sightings. Okay, so we have two more visuals. Let's just go ahead and copy this one. Let's change the color again. Where's the colors? There we go. Okay. Let's run that. There we go. So we can say that there appears to be a very high amount or increase in UFO sightings in 2022. So we can say that 932 divided by 118, what is that? Calc, where's my calculator? 932 divided by 118. Times 100. There was a 789, basically a 790% increase in UFO sightings. So we can say the amount of sightings increased almost, let's bold this, 790% from 2021 to 2022. Let's throw some research in there. So we could say, why were there so many UFO sightings in 2022? Okay, it's not doing what I want. Let's ask Claude. I have Claude pulled up right here. Um, why were there so many? Okay, here it's generating. There are a few reasons. Reducing stigma from government legitimization. Officials attribute the rise in UAP reports largely to U.S. government efforts to destigmatize the topic and instead recognize the particular risks of um, in 2022, the Pentagon established the all-domain anomaly to serve as better short version. Wasn't necessarily a surge in weird things in the sky. It was a surge in reporting driven by new government officials, reduced stigma, better sensors. Okay, so we're gonna throw this in there. We're gonna say according to Claude Code. Okay, that's pretty useful. So according to Claude, 2022 wasn't necessarily a surge in weird things in the sky. It was a surge in reporting driven by new government offices, reduced stigma, better sensors, and intense media coverage. So that's pretty interesting. It wasn't necessarily the fact that there were actually more unusual things in the sky. It was because it was being more heavily reported on, and the change of government offices and there's just that media coverage that I was talking about. So that's very interesting. That's pretty useful. And we got one more plot, guys, and then we're gonna call it quits here. And then, yeah. So, let me see. Top 5 days with the most sightings. What style did I use for the other ones? Style 2, okay. Forgot it. Did I not? Okay. So UFO sightings over time, and then year over year UFO sighting totals. And then we're gonna say top 5 days with most UFO sightings. Okay. And let's go ahead and throw in our last little code here. Dude, yeah, this is crazy. So we're also gonna I'm gonna put this into Claude and I'm gonna kind of do the same little thing that I did with y'all. I'm gonna take a picture of this so I can reference it. let's go ahead and throw that picture in there and say, why is there any specific reason why there could have been a lot of sightings on these 5 days? It's pulling a lot of sources here. Great finds. There are actually pretty compelling explanations for several of these dates. The highest day. No single smoking gun event ever found for this exact date, but it falls squarely in the period right after the Pentagon formally established the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office in July of 2022. Reporting was surging across the board that fall due to reduced stigma and new official channels. September is also a common time for clear evening skies and people spending time outdoors, which tends to drive up reports. It's also worth noting that TikTok showed a flurry of activity around UFO over a high school football game. Okay. March 1st, 2023 was the height of a conjunction of Jupiter and Venus. Two, three, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay. So it looks like these days right here, I'm going to, this is very interesting. I'm just going to copy and paste this straight from Claude, and I'm going to put it at the bottom here. I'll fiddle with it. It has the sources that it's pulling from. Using Claude, I was able to have the agent do a deep web search as to why these days had abnormally high high sightings in UFOs. Okay. Let's make this bulleted. All right. Let's read through this. I just kind of glazed over. So September 24, 2022, 24 sightings the highest day. No single smoking gun event found for this exact date, but it falls squarely in the period right after the Pentagon. So basically saying there wasn't really a key reason, but the second highest one, March 1st, 19 sightings. This one has a clear explanation. March 1st was the height of a conjunction of Jupiter and Venus in the night sky when the two planets appeared to almost merge into a single point of light. Multiple UFO reports that night were directly tied to this. Multiple people in Pennsylvania, for example, called 911 about hovering oval objects that turned. That is very interesting. I should have. What we could have done, y'all, is pull data from, or like we can filter to this date, and then we should see what state. Okay, that is very interesting. I'm actually gonna do that right now, guys. I don't care. I'm gonna filter it down, and I'm gonna see. Okay, so Okay, so March 1st, 2023. So let's take our data and then filter to where date is equivalent to 3 dash I'm just gonna call this, just name it anything. All right. We're stacked. There we go. Okay, let's see what we're working with here. Oh, it's not corresponding to that. There's some Pennsylvania. Circle, 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 oval. Okay, that wasn't really, that was the letdown. But I'm glad we kind of just try to look and see. Bruh. Wait, what? Yeah, I don't know. Okay, that was a letdown. Okay, but we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and write my conclusion, and then we are going to and summary of key findings. We're gonna say, in summary, sightings, high amounts of sightings are strongly associated with denser population states and cities. Strongly associated with Friday and Saturday nights. I'm gonna say with theorized relation with alcohol consumption. Okay, what else do we have? We can also point out that 2022 had an abnormal amount of sightings. This was not necessarily due to an actual increase in witnessed abnormal objects. It was more likely due to an increase in media coverage and reporting. Some of the days that had high reports of UFO sightings Um, or linked to situations that happened during that day. Whether that was more eyes in the sky because of a holiday, weird phenomenons. Gosh, I hope I spelled that right. Phenomenon. Weird phenomenons with planets aligning. Or military activity. All right, I think that's gonna do it. I think I kind of ended it kind of harsh, but you know, it's not a legitimate report. This is just a fun. So let's go ahead and preview it and see how the final product looks. All right, so as you can see, we have our content section that you're able to click on. We got our title, subtitle, author, date. Let's see how this conclusion looks. Got our bullet list. I referenced Claude. I was able to see all the sightings, trend with it. Year over year sighting totals. We got our cool looking plot here. I mean, yeah, I think this looks good, y'all. So I think this is where I'm going to wrap it up with y'all. So I would just like y'all to, if y'all watch this entire thing, I genuinely want to thank y'all, and hopefully over time I will improve the video quality. I'll make it more engaging and more enjoyable. And so yeah, so this is kind of the stuff I'm going to be working on uh, for this like Tidy with Ty channel, where I'll be doing projects like this, and maybe next week I'll do more of a how-to tutorial. It'll be much shorter video clips for y'all, so it's not just these like hour-long like whole things, you know. So yeah, thank y'all so much, and yeah, please like and subscribe and comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.